Hi, everybody. You should got you
Hi,
should
Hal.
you should did you get an agreement to go live?
Yeah, we're good. We got it.
Okay, good. Hi, everybody. My name is Hal. I'm with Andrew Sandler and Jonathan Hale. Welcome to our first live feed onto the page. Um, I'm really excited to do this because this is such an unbelievably amazing system that Jonathan and Andrew have. And a lot of our followers and people that have liked the page have asked lots of questions. So I thought it would be great to go live. Let's introduce everybody really quick. Most of you know Andrew Sandler. He is the owner of this amazing live Reef exhibit. And Jonathan Hale is from Country Critters of Patchogue, Long Island, a truly animal first pet store, as they say on their website. For information on the store, you'll be seeing a link coming up in the comments of this live. Also, if you have any questions and you're viewing this live, feel free to put a comment under the live feed. And if we have time to address it, we'll be more than happy to try and find time. If you're replaying this at a later date, feel free to put a comment in also. We love to know that you guys are interested in what we're doing here on the page. So please follow the page. Let us know that you're here. We're here to have you enjoy what this amazing setup is all about. Let's see. Andrew, ready? Let's get some questions going on here.
Sure.
What first got you interested in fish tanks? How did you get here?
I would say I took the very traditional route, which is a grandfather or a father that takes you to a fish store, an aquarium, 20-gallon live bearers to 55-gallon African cichlids and discus, and to salt water after that. And the only years I basically skipped were the first 3 years in college. Try to keep a tank at home. Gave my father instructions that didn't work out so well, and had to come back to it afterwards.
I love it. I love it. Okay, Jonathan, what's your role with Andrew in this whole amazing tank? What part do you play in it? Let's let everybody know who you are and what you do and all that stuff.
I helped design the tank and also build the life support and installation of the aquarium and systems.
I love it. How old were you when you got your first tank, Andrew? Were you a little kid?
10, 9, in that zip code.
Yeah, cool. I love it. I love it. Okay. Have you always had at least one fish tank? I think you pretty much said for the most part
Yeah,
you did.
with the exception in college, and even my last year as a senior, I ended up trying to put something together to get back into it.
Very, very cool. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Andrew, here we're going to get into, and Jonathan, we're going to get into some questions that our followers have asked over the last several months. I figured it would be great to incorporate here. And basically, what gave you the idea for this big build? How did this come about?
So, I mean, Jonathan serviced and took care of another reef tank that we had prior to this in another house. And we were in the gym and literally took a string and chalked out.
Yeah, draped it across the.
How big do you want it?
Yeah. And he kept saying bigger, and I was like, well, this much? He's like, no, bigger. I was like, okay.
I love it. I love it. Okay, just to give everybody a little bit of perspective, what is the young lady's name that was inside the tank scuba diving to place the coral?
That's Michelle Hope from my company, and
okay, so just to give everybody a little bit of a perspective. I mean, it's great to see the tank on the page and the videos and everything that we put up, but to be real honest with you, this tank was bigger than my first apartment. And no, it was not a very small apartment. And you really get the true perspective of the actual enormous size of it when she's inside swimming inside the tank. It truly says like, oh my, look at the size of this thing. I love it a lot. Okay. Um, Andrew, what's the family think about this? Are they supportive? Are they like, are you crazy? Why are you putting a 17,000 gallon tank in our basement? How'd that happen?
Both. They think I'm crazy and they're supportive.
I love it. I love it. That's really great.
The second wife thing also helps. You know, they just a little bit more supportive and less opinionated.
So did the tank come with the marriage, or did the marriage come with the tank?
The tank came with the marriage, I
Now
guess.
remember, you got to see the boss when we're done here. So
I
be
know.
careful how you answer it.
It all at once. I mean,
Yeah.
I had other tanks at my previous address and got cut a little short, and I wanted to do it over again.
I love it. Okay. Let's see. Let's take a quick second and look at the comments. Van's Morningstar says, Andrew is my idol. Cappy Has says, hey there. Sean Bryant says, hey, Drew, how's it going? And Paul Matthew Gilliam says, hello, everybody. Thanks for commenting. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to put a comment under the live feed, and we'll be happy to try to address your questions if we have time. Okay. How long did it take from start to finish for construction for the tank? For the whole system, for everything?
Well, we're still not done,
Right?
so we still got stuff going on, but it's been 6+ years from conception to where we are now.
I love it. Okay, for those of you that haven't seen the whole process of what it takes to build a tank this size and put in the systems to support it, you can do a search on the page for the big build, and it goes through a video slideshow of all of the pieces of the equipment, the construction, the addition to the house, the whole gamut of what it took to put. It's not just a matter of, running out with your pickup truck and picking up a tank at Target and tossing it on a shelf. There's a lot to it. So, okay. Andrew, you've got a lot of expert level knowledge about all things when it comes to fish. How did you gain this experience? Did you build it over time? When you put your videos up, you have a lot of knowledge about what's going on with this fish and with the corals. How did you get all that?
I would say it was either experience or just reading. I mean, I used to spend hours of just forums. And I'm a big reader of the comments and questions too, not just the articles. And so, I get to see what people are hearing and saying. I mean, this is an industry, unfortunately, there's not a hell of a lot of research and a lot, mostly anecdotal. So you gotta read up.
Okay, let's see what we've got here. Andrew, what did you do to make sure that this is real important, because we're all involved in lots and lots of things in our lives, hobbies and businesses and work and family. How do you make sure that the tank itself and everything around it is still enjoyable and doesn't start to feel like a full-time job? Because that's really important. If you're going to continue to enjoy this as a hobby, you need to focus on enjoying it. How do you keep that in the right perspective?
I mean, one thing is to have good people and have the labor and staff to worry about it. Lucky enough to have a guy that's been with me since 2000, Yeltsin, and Jonathan has been, hasn't abandoned me yet. And I dread the day he's going to build another system like this somewhere else and leave me. But so good people and other hobbies, mixing them in, getting away even on the weekends. I find people say to me, I'd live down there if it was my tank, I'd live down there. No, that's actually not the right thing to do. I'm happy to go upstairs at 4:30, 5 o'clock. It's just got to keep it balanced.
Send our love to Phoebe, please. Now that Phoebe is saying hello.
Yeah, hey, Phoebe.
Somebody had asked if Phoebe was going to be involved in the live, and through some intense negotiations, we decided that Phoebe's demand for choo-choo toys and biscuits was way beyond what we could afford. So Phoebe's going to be sitting on the sidelines and not be a part of the live, unfortunately. Okay, so keeping this as a hobby, basically, um, what keeps you up at night when it comes to all this, Andrew? What's your nightmare scenario? What do you worry about the most?
Um, Low sump level warnings in the middle of the night. The computer system sends out messages and texts that when something goes wrong, and low sump level is not my favorite thing to see. That means water is missing. And we can lose water. How we can lose water, we can lose 10,000 gallons in just a few minutes.
That's not good.
An overflow of a skimmer or something like that. I haven't had pipes break yet, but that scares me.
So basically, Jonathan sleeps in a sleeping bag in the equipment room with a water sensor alarm.
If he's not here, he's got the computer at home and is watching the warnings. Also, we have 3-4 people sort of watching the computer at all times.
Absolutely amazing.
And UV sterilizer meltdowns. I'm not a big fan of fires from UV, so that can happen. And the third thing that freaks me out is infection, right? Parasites or bacterial infection that goes through the tank, and we've dealt with it before. It's just a major pain, PIA, if it happens.
Okay, before we get on, Jonathan, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
All of his nightmares scenarios we tried to safeguard him against.
Right.
You know, we have some redundancy in place, some strict quarantine.
Okay, before we get into what Jonathan, I have some openings for Jonathan. Let's talk about a couple things that people are saying on the feed. Mike Lee said it's not a hobby. I think there's brings it to another level here. So yeah, there's a lot on the line here with this.
Yeah, someone joined us now.
Phoebe, hello Phoebe, hello Phoebe. Phoebe's always like a guest star in a lot of your videos. I love it. Okay, don't know if we'll see the question in real time with your live stream. Can you tell if the fish respond to your music? If so, I lost that. If so, I'm guessing they're going to want to know do they respond to different types of music? Do they like classic rock? Do they like?
They like 70s rock. Anything with the bass is booming. I think the vibrations. We feed them a lot during the video sometimes.
Yeah.
So they definitely respond. There's something goes on when the music's on, but I think it's a feeding response.
Very, very cool. Does the automation make life easier on tracking your progress when it comes to the fish from the equipment side?
The final part of the automation is to actually data log all of this, be able to graph it, and we're a few months away from that final portion of actually being able to log and track the data in a graph format.
I want to give a shout out to Alison Swan. She is watching live from Stirling, Scotland. Great to have you on board, Alison. With all that water all over the house, do you have any issues with humidity and moisture?
No, but we spent a lot of money and time on getting a system correct. It's a Dextron system. You want to get into it?
Yeah, it's a commercial dehumidification system used in like pools and sports arenas that have water in them to cool and dehumidify while not,
I love it. Okay, let's get to that was questions off the feed. Keep them coming, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Pavlov's Fish. I want to do a shout out, John. It's a personal privilege. Andrew, I want to shout out to Shelly Carter Flores. You know her well. We're friends. That's how we met. We love her immensely. She's a superstar. She's a great supporter.
Admin, great person.
Yep, absolutely fantastic. I love her with all my heart and all my soul. She's just like one of the best people that I've ever met. So Shelly, love you a lot. She's the one that's backing us up here and putting links for everything in the comments as we talk. Okay, we used a commercial dehumidifier. Okay, in our system chain of aquariums, I expect you use the same. Yeah, Sean, we just addressed that about the dehumidifier. Okay, so let's go to Jonathan. Can you speak to us a little bit about your background and a little bit about the Country Critters store that's in Patchogue on Long Island in New York? That's right. We're on Long Island and in New York. We're not in Long Island.
So I've been doing this for, I don't know, 25 years now. I've been working for Andrew for 18 years now. Country Critters is a 12,000 square foot full line pet store, encompassing fish and many other exotic animals. And we are truly about the animals, and their care and their well-being comes first, and the rest is all just secondary to that. I've been
Go ahead.
working on some big systems, but Andrews has definitely been the first start to finish and the biggest. I've got to design and completely install myself.
I love it. You were out there with the shovel and a pickaxe and
Basically, yeah.
whatever it takes. I've got some video of you doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. Shelley says, send her love back to everybody. I love that. David Lee says, Jonathan and Country Critter is one of the best in the business. Hey, you have a website. What's the website address? We're going to give you a little free, plug here.
Sure. Country Critters Pets at Gmail. CountryCrittersPets@gmail.com is the email, and CountryCrittersPets.com is the website.
CountryCrittersPets.com, easily found on the web. I love it. Yeah, I took a look at the website. Very, very well set up. I like it a lot. Being an internet guy and a social media consultant, I look at the minutia in it. I get into the details. You did a good job. Okay. Let's talk about. Here we go. You ready? Now we're going to get into the questions that everybody's been asking for months and months and months. You ready? I'm going to throw a whole bunch of them at you. Pick and choose as you like. Okay. How big is the tank? How much water? What's the flow? Talk a little bit about the equipment in the background. How much pressure? All that other. Let's tell everybody what this whole thing is about.
So the tank is 15 feet long, 15 feet wide, and 9 feet tall. The wall's under a 4-inch thick acrylic. To move this panel here in a single piece, it was plenty of permits to go across 2 bridges, lane closures, police escorts, the whole rigmarole to get it here. The tank runs back about 100 feet to the filter room, where it then pumps 1,000 gallons of water a minute back to the tank. At any given time, there's about 40 horsepower worth of motors running to supply that water back to the tank. The tank has about 35,000 pounds of rock in it and about 10,000 pounds of sand.
Wow. How many? Somebody asked earlier in the feed, and I saved it for this point in the live. How many fish are in there? Do you have any idea? A whole boatload of them.
I'm afraid we actually lost track somewhere back in the quarantine room when we had the small little fish going and the amphias and gobies. So we're not sure.
Got to be a few hundred, right?
Oh, it's in the hundreds. It's in the hundreds. And one day maybe I'll send Yeltsin and I'll count species and stuff.
Just have them count off 1, 2.
Yeah, 3. They move around a lot.
Yeah, they do. They do. Okay, let's see. About the tank itself. How much does it weigh? Do you have any idea what does it weigh? Water and everything?
It's about 180,000 pounds.
180,000 pounds. How thick was the footing at concrete? I know there was in the big build video, you can see the concrete footing and foundation that was underneath it.
We had to do some soil engineering below before we even got the tank, and a slab actually extends in 6 feet of each direction of the tank, and it's over a foot thick just to support the weight of the tank.
How thick is the glass? I thought I read somewhere that somebody said that the glass for the tank was 4 inches thick. Is that correct? 4 inches.
4 inch.
So it's 4 inch. I guess you didn't go to the Ace Hardware store and pick that up.
I don't even know if you can get it now.
I mean, with the plastic shortage, it might not be the most readily available piece. I mean, it was, other than the corners, it's a monolithic panel. I mean, it has no seams in it. So it was actually a custom made Each wall was custom made for this project and then bonded off-site.
Silicone caulk?
Al, the easy way to have done this tank would be to concrete the tank as all concrete and to use acrylic or glass windows.
Mhm.
That would be the way most people would have done it.
But that would have limited view of everything in the tank too, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
And we wanted three full panels, yeah. And there weren't a lot of people that wanted to build it because of that.
Yeah. I love it. Okay. What about, I mean, I'm an amateur aquarist. You know, I've had 55 gallon, my biggest tank, 75 gallons, and it's holding an aquatic turtle right now. And so I don't have a lot of, I mean, I have a pump, a filter. Talk for a few minutes about what's all, I mean, we've seen videos, and we're going to do another one here coming up pretty soon about a tour of the equipment, what each thing is, what it does, and so forth. But okay, the water comes out of the tank and goes in through all the different systems and then comes back out. Can you, Jonathan, talk for a couple of minutes about what does it go through and how does it go from out leaving the tank to getting back in ready to be used again?
So there's like three main systems that run the tank. We have a closed loop that draws water directly from the tank. It's pumped at about 300 gallons a minute via a 10 horsepower pump. It goes through a sand filter, some chillers, 2 5 horsepower chillers and a heater, and that returns directly into the bottom of the tank. Then we have like an overflow system that as we pump that 1,000 gallons of water a minute into the top of the tank, it kind of overflows and goes down like a weir down into the sump filter. And that's pumped with 2 10 horsepower motors at 1,000 gallons a minute.
My God.
That flows through a 3,700 watt UV and back to the tank. And then we have some auxiliary filters tied into the sump as well.
I'm gonna promise all the viewers that we've been talking about doing a more detailed tour of the back area, the equipment room, and we're just working on the logistics of how to do it and have it easy to hear because there's such a hum back there, and walking through and explaining everything because everybody's always asking, how do you do this? What is that? What is this? And I think it's a lot of great questions. And
Al, you know, there was a rhyme and reason for the closed loop to be hooked up to a sand filter and to the chillers and so forth. And that was, we wanted a way, and it's happened to other people. Well, the one on the person that actually has a 20,000 gallon tank in his house, we wanted a way, if God forbid, we had to run this tank at 5 6 inches of water because of a leak or something, that it would be full life support. That redundancy was sort of done with that closed loop in mind.
I love it. Yeah, redundancy for a system like this is huge because not only because of the investment, obviously the investment is enormously, very, very large, but the life, protecting the life of the fish and the coral is, every penny you spend on it, I think it's well worth it because of the life that you have an ecosystem here that's alive and living and it's thriving and growing. And so I'm going to ask a question that I was hesitant to ask, but I think it's a really cool question. And somebody brought it up and asked the same question. What's the name of the most expensive fish you have and what did it cost? People are asking it.
People or the
$3 for $1. Goldfish, $3 for $1. No.
The really expensive exotic fish go between, let's say, $20,000 and $40,000 each, and with a midpoint, let's say, of 30, like I haven't seen the $100,000 fish yet, although there would be one I would pay for, only one. Yeah. But basically, and there are many at that level. There are many fish in that $20,000 to $30,000 level.
Cecilia asked how many fish do we have in a tank. We had determined that you had lost count a while back. You tried to keep count
Yeah.
when they were in quarantine, but there's hundreds of them in there. That's what we're pretty much guessing at this point. Um, how was the transition? This is a good question, actually. How was the transition from fish only to a full reef tank going? Are the corals you've introduced already doing well? Because it's obviously a whole different everything when you introduce the corals when it comes to the environment, the water, the food, the ability for them to get along where the fish aren't eating all the coral. How's that?
Yep.
How talk about that for a minute? That's a really great question.
Um, it's a great question, and I'll tell you what's even harder about it is that we quarantine all our coral too, 6 weeks. And coral quarantine has been a challenge for us. We're working on that. We have new vats built and so forth. But so far, the coral that's gone into the tank, what has not been eaten, we are reasonably happy with.
Yeah, definitely.
And
it
the results.
seems like if we add multiple pieces, it's much better because it distracts the fish rather than just one at a time.
I love
So
it.
the challenge is to figure out how not to lose the coral in quarantine and not to reset dates. And so that's why we built that systems.
Part of the coral quarantine is not having fish in there, and then not having the fish in there leads to
Less nutrients.
less
and
food for the coral. So
it's challenging.
Yes, a couple of people have mentioned in actually on the YouTube feed, and when we put some interesting videos up on YouTube, they were wondering, can we come see the tank? Just to let everybody know, this is in Andrew's home. So, the
Yeah,
chances.
messenger, give me a buzz first before you come over.
Yeah, bring coffee and milk. Yeah,
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, obviously we want to respect Andrew's privacy. It would be wonderful. But if you're on Long Island in New York and you're that interested in this type of a hobby, I'm going to give a shameless plug to the Long Island Aquarium because it's a phenomenal place to go. If you want to see your children's eyes light up with wonder and joy and amazement, bring your kids to the Long Island Aquarium and let them take a look there. It's an amazing resource and a wonderful place to bring the kids. Another shameless plug. Okay. Right? You agree?
Yep.
Okay.
A good trip.
We talked about the back room a little bit. How many tanks are in the house? I know you've got a bunch of tanks besides this. This is the premiere. Everybody's asking about this, but you've also got a few. What do you got? What other ones do you have?
So we actually have a 2,500 gallon system, which is not up and running. That will be dedicated more towards the coral and reef safe fish. That's in my office, and it's very close to starting. We have to get the computer guy to build some power modules for a new cabinet, but we've bought rock now to rock it, so it's getting there. And then there's a system. What is
high-end
it?
system.
A high-end system, which is 600-700 gallons about.
yeah, it's got two tanks
2 tanks attached to it, where we're keeping high-end deep water fish.
at a cooler temperature.
Explain that. I'm an amateur. What do you mean by high end? What?
Fish that you don't necessarily want to put in a big display because you feel like you need more control, like you want to display them and they don't need as much room.
More timid.
Can't compete for the food.
Stuff that comes from much greater depth.
Cooler water.
Yeah,
We have extra chillers on that system.
that's something I never thought of. And, being that amateur guy that had the tank in his house when I was a kid and the ones I have now, it was always, if I want to have this type of fish, I need this type of environment, this temperature, these water parameters, and thinking about the amazing variety of fish types that you have in the big tank, plus the coral, they all have to be at the very least capable of living together.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't put a shark in there, for example.
Hey, you might be able to, but
Don't
You
eat the
may
big
lose
fish.
some small fish.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's see what else we have here. I'm looking over the questions in the comments. Um, what am I missing? What did you guys want to talk about? Do you have anything that you want to throw in that we haven't talked about yet? Because we're going to do another live, but it's not going to be tomorrow. So we have an audience now. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I don't know.
What's next? What's next, Andrew? You're going to go to a 20,000 gallon tank, a 30,000 gallon tank. You're going to
No,
be happy
no,
here.
I won't do anything. I won't. I'm done building. If you would have said to me, it was taking twice as long as you expected, 2 or 3 times the amount of money, and you know your life was going to be this. I'm not sure. I would first of all would have told you you're crazy. I'm not sure I would have done it. Now that I've done it, I think I want to sit back and enjoy it. I'm somewhere. I guess what's next is trying to figure out whether or not, the upstairs, we got to do the upstairs tank, obviously, in my office. And I think once that happens, I'll sit up there more often in my office and not make this basement my office.
Mhm.
But we're going to figure out what this thing becomes, whether it becomes live stream cameras, how I do that. Do I make it charitable and make a donation, pay $1 a month, and we'll give 80% of it back to ecology and aquariums? I mean, I'm thinking about that kind of thing. I want to give back. I'm willing to sort of make it viral to give it back and not keep a significant amount of dollars at all.
Mhm.
I've actually hired a separate camera crew. They're working on a separate documentary of this thing. And we're trying to figure out what this thing becomes.
I was, I had thought about that from a long-term standpoint. Um, you know, take this in a very loving, positive way. I've grown to admire you, Andrew and Jonathan, and we get along fantastic. And thank God. If you need to run to Publix and grab food for the family, it's not an issue. You know, I'm 64. You're a lot younger than me. Where is this going to be 25 years from now? Because you have this amazing ecosystem, in the middle of a wonderful part of Long Island. Where is it? Have you even thought about that? I mean, it's something to think about.
Yeah, I think about it because I'm getting the pressure from some of my friends on Florida and retirement and stop spending money at this house and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm not ready yet, and frankly, I don't see us selling this house ever. So I mean, I think this thing is up and going in some form, whether I'm here full time or not.
Knowing Andrew for a long time, this has been a dream of his for a long time, and I don't see him,
Yeah. I mean, forget about the money, the emotional investment in doing a project of this magnitude. You have to have that. You have to buy into that, and you have to own that, or it would never happen in the first place.
Correct.
So in all seriousness, it's just like, the money is unbelievable. The money is incredible, and the investment is stupid huge, to use a new term. But in reality, money comes and goes. But when you take the emotional investment and you put your heart into something, when somebody puts their heart into something, this is what happens.
Yeah. So
this
one of the
result.
things we talk about. One of the things we talk about is how long can reef tanks stay up without crashing, without corals crashing, without STN or RTNing, or at what point do you have to change and really do stuff so that to prevent that? And
does the tank actually become stale after
Yeah.
time?
That could actually happen.
Yeah, it can happen, and has happened to many.
again, from an amateur standpoint, you think, okay, well, you keep all the needed parameters correct, and you keep, the filter systems and all the mechanisms in the background running good. It could go for 1,000 years if you were able to do that. That's a from a looking in from the outside point of view, where you say, well, if they do everything right, then it's going to be their, Andrew's great grandchildren are going to be sitting here talking to my great grandchildren about why he
Maybe.
started this.
Maybe, or maybe not.
Yeah.
That's sort of up for debate. I mean, certainly with the coral, there is evidence to suggest otherwise.
And does that same thing happen in the ocean with coral? Or?
It does, but it happens even shorter time frame in aquariums.
Huh. Interesting.
And they still haven't really figured out why necessarily a piece of coral or several corals die at once. And is it a change in a parameter? Is it bacterial? Is it protozoan? They can see under the scope, but they don't know what comes first, the death or the other thing. And so the lack of research is sort of amazing in this hobby.
Okay, I'm going to go back to a basic question that I always had. I've seen corals in my local fish store. I've watched you guys installing the corals here. I saw them in the quarantine tank, and all those videos are on the page. Go take a look at it. They're on the YouTube channel. Take a look at it. But talking to somebody that doesn't know a lot about this, because I don't, what is a coral? Is it alive? Is it breathing? Is it an animal? Is it a plant? Talk to me. What is a coral? I love this part of it.
It's an animal that is alive, that basically lives with symbiotic algae and polyps and calcium carbonate and stuff. So it's an animal.
Do you feed it? Does a coral get fed?
Yes and no.
It'll feed off some plankton and things like that. We could, target feed them, but for the most part, they produce their own food sources from the light.
A lot of people feed aminos. They make sure the trace elements are okay. They feed them the proper nutrients. Some need actual food, like LPS and stuff like that. So,
like toss them a cheeseburger or something, or
yeah, like that.
Okay, so it's not breathing. Fish are breathing because they have gills, so they're absorbing the oxygen that they need by taking in the water and expelling the water. So it's just a unique a piece of coral. We say a piece of coral. It's not a piece of fish. It's a living entity. It's alive. It's just I find it really fascinating that it's getting its nutrients from the water and from what you're supplementing the water with. It's not like you're putting fish flakes in.
Yeah, and photosynthesis.
Yeah, they're taking the light and changing it into energy. I love it. So you before we went live, you were messing with the lights for the fun of it. I noticed that, Jonathan. This is not just like a fluorescent light bulb sitting up there. Is there special kind of lights that are involved with the tank? What's up with the lights?
So we have a bunch of the max spec LEDs, commercial units that we have 12 or 13 500-watt units that are equivalent to a 1,000-watt metal halide. We have two 1,000-watt floodlights at the front of the tank that are equivalent to a 4,000-watt metal halide. And then we're trying to replicate the sun with that. It has a properly designed spectrum for photosynthesis within the coral. And then our computer system also ramps it up and down for sunrise and sunset. We also have a 28-day lunar cycle for moonlight. So
unbelievable, absolutely incredible. Okay, we're at 45 minutes into the live. I don't see a whole lot of questions. Everybody is posting comments in the live feed on the page about how unbelievable, how grateful they are, how much Andrew, you and I had talked early on when you and I started our relationship about the music that you use behind some of your Friday videos, and we talked about that. And I find it I'm not surprised, but I'm impressed that a lot of people that follow the page thoroughly enjoy your choice of music. First off,
Yeah, apparently people are impressed with my DJ skills. Yes,
yeah,
good taste in music. It's 70s and 80s only. I think one time I went down to 68 or 69. I may have went up to 91 once, but basically, uh, look, the nice part of it is as we do chorals and the tank changes. I plan on doing redos. Can't keep inventing songs, the greatest songs of all time.
yeah, yeah. So, at my request, and you have not fulfilled it yet, so I'm going to call you out publicly
Yeah,
that
what do you like?
I want some country music.
Oh, I think I did John Denver once.
Okay, no, that's sort of okay. Yeah, I mean, I need some banjo. I need some bluegrass music. Some of us, believe it or not, like country music.
We're on Long Island in New York.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but I was born and raised on Long Island. And I moved to Atlanta, so I actually liked country before I left the island. Somebody asked a question about two more questions. Let's see if we can squeeze these in. Have you considered, because we talked about this a little bit before the live? Have you talked about breeding certain like a species that is very rare and very unique? Phoebe likes the idea of breeding.
Yeah. So obviously, you want to talk about like what happens? Like
So-
we see them breeding here all the time.
Yeah,
All the time. We see it.
either first thing in the morning or
Or the
when the
evening.
lights are
Now.
like this, they'll start spawning. You can see the behavior, but it's different than breeding freshwater fish. They'll spawn in the water column. You would have to collect those eggs with specialized collectors.
Mhm.
And to rear those eggs, I mean, out of 10,000 eggs, you might get one or two that make it through this period where they have to be suspended in the column after they hatch to actually metamorphosize into a fish. And that process is,
So it's a whole big extravaganza to even think about doing it right.
I mean, you'd have to get some kind of egg collectors, and then probably ship the eggs to a breeder or somebody that knows how to really raise the larval.
feeding them at that larval stage is very specific. Each one might eat a different type of food at a certain size, a live food that needs to be cultured. So
It sounds like a lot of work for a hobby. Sounds like something that might not be as enjoyable and as pleasurable and as fun as what you're doing right now.
We think about it in the smaller tanks more, where we can keep
deeper water fish.
the deeper water fish, where we have a shot at scooping up the eggs when we see it.
Yeah.
And the fish are $20,000 each. It might make sense to even go for one or two.
Yeah.
Those culturing those deeper water fish that people risk their lives to go down that far to get, is more helping people out.
Where's the most exotic fish you have from? What part of the world is it from? What kind of fish is it? Do you know? I mean, I don't think many of these come from the Hudson River.
Some of them are endemic to Hawaii only, which is now closed, which makes it even more valuable at the moment, I guess. Some of them are specific to geographies like Cook Islands or Tahiti or something like that. Some are, I mean, the one famous tank that we have that we marketed pretty good, Mr. Picasso, he came from the Maldives. So it varies. Lord Howell has a lot of rare species. There are a few islands out there that I think
Have an endemic.
Yeah, endemic. Yeah, but it's fixed come from. Yeah.
Lord Howe.
Yeah, it might be Lord Howell.
Yeah, it might be Lord Howe. Yeah, 'cause you can't land on the actual island.
I'm being outvoted on the country music, according to people that are commenting on the live. They want you to not change a thing. They want you to keep it the way it is. So what I'll do is when you put up a nice video, I'm gonna copy it, save it, put some bluegrass music behind it, and send it back up onto the feed just to please my own self.
Yeah.
It'll probably get 3 likes instead of 2,000 like yours get. Okay, I think we're coming up on 50 minutes. If anybody has anything else, I haven't seen any other yellow tangs are the new
Oh,
Bitcoin.
in Caledonia.
Yeah, so what I want to say a couple of things on I'm going to take a point of personal privilege here and say Andrew and Jonathan, I want to thank you immensely for being willing to do this. You guys had just to let everybody know, you had a general idea of the questions that I was going to be asking, how it was going to run, but a lot of it was ad-libbed, and I just, questions came off the feed that I wanted to give to you. You guys handled them like superstars. I want to remind everybody to please follow the page, follow the YouTube channel, check out the Instagram feed. There's a lot of information up there. There's one thing that you're going to know about Andrew, if you don't know it already. If you see Andrew commenting on the feed, Andrew is commenting on the feed. He doesn't have some auto pen person responding for him. This is his hobby, his page, his community, and he is immensely involved in the page and on Instagram and YouTube. I propagate the content for him. I curate it. I play with the videos and the audio. But when you make a comment on the page, you're talking to Andrew, you're talking to Jonathan, which is really, really unique when it comes to people that are involved in a hobby that's this heavy. What's the age of the tank? How old is the tank's fairly new?
First fish, November 2019.
So it's coming up on 2.5 years old, 2 years old. Yeah, very cool. Guys, listen, I want to thank you immensely from the bottom of my heart to be willing to do this. I want to let everybody know that we are going to be working on our next live, which will be something about the back room. We're going to figure out a way to do a tour of the back room so everybody can see more of the equipment. And keep your eyes out for new videos coming out several times a week. Even maybe getting some live cameras in the tank itself, so you guys can, check in when you're awake at 4 o'clock in the morning and have nothing to do. There may be a place shortly down the road where you can log in and check a live view and see what the fish are up to. Like Andrew said, we may want to do something down the road where we support a charity or a nonprofit or some sort of something when it comes to aquatics and send a percentage of that to support a charity that's involved with this hobby. But keep your eyes out for that. It's still in the pre-planning stages. Andrew and I are talking about it. Jonathan's putting his input into it. But we want to do something like that for the hobby. We want to do something like that because it's fun, it's interesting, and live cameras are really, really cool. So please comment on the feeds, comment on the lives. Please follow the page, follow YouTube, check us out on Instagram. And guys, again, thank you very, very much for doing this. It was fantastic. Thank you so much.
Welcome back to the video.
Thank you.
Thank you. You take care. Bye-bye.